the lore of Tekken is not all it's cracked up to be. Used to be, back in the day, I would go to an arcade and stake a claim at those Tekken Tag Tournament machines and air juggle bitches all night long. I'd send grade schoolers crying home to their mammies. People would line up and watch me for days trying to study my moves. Some people would even send me gifts hoping I'd take them on as disciples. The women, let me tell you, some women would be so turned on by my outright Tekken dominance that they'd put quarters on my side of the machine just to line up and give me blowjobs. Oh, but, people don't play Tekken anymore, do they? Oh no, they've got their fucking Street Fighter games. It's all people want to play anymore on Xbox Live, and just when I started getting good at whatever the fuck 4,000th variant of Street Fighter 2 X Alpha Turbo HD Remix Carbon Platinum Akuma versus SNK Turbo fuck game I downloaded, then Street Fighter 4 comes out, and all of a sudden I suck again. Fucking Street Fighter. You guys need to play a real game. A man's game with fighting bears and wooden men made of steel with Satan tag teaming with a kangaroo. Not your fucking gay Street Fighter with this jiggly hairy fucker and the fucking Rey Mysterio chef and Kylie Minogue with a rocket launcher. So yeah, you just think about how lame you are. Street Fighter the movie? Or, hey, what about the game that was based on the movie? Based on the game. And that wasn't even the low point of the series. You want to know why I never got into Street Fighter? Well, because I played the very first version to ever hit home consoles. Street Fighter 2010 for the Nintendo Entertainment System. It's Street Fighter in space!
I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this. Everything about this game is ridiculous. It's the sort of game you have to pick up and look at more closely just to make sure you read it right. I love the bit at the end of the title, The Final Fight. Not only is that a massive cliche, it's also total bullshit. And why 2010? That's next year! Now, I know this game was made in 1990, but even so, what do the designers of this game just sit around and think, hey, how long do you think before we'll have guys jumping around on geologically impossible platforms of rock on alien planets, street fighting dragons and red robots with spiky ball hands? I don't know, maybe 20 years from now, 2010?
What? It could happen.
That's the problem in sci-fi. When you lock yourself down to a specific date in the future, then that date actually comes, and the future turns out to be nothing like that. Like in the original Star Trek, when they said World War III took place in the late 1990s because of genetically engineered super soldiers like Khan, they probably figured in the 70s, in 20 years we'll be cloning shit left and right. Or like in 2001, A Space Odyssey, when Arthur C. Clarke envisioned us having cool space stations and computers that could talk.
Or what about Orwell's 1984, that portrayed a government's encroachment on the rights of the individual with a program of pervasive government surveillance and control? That was way off.
I always liked how they handled it in the Mega Man games. Instead of naming a specific date, they just say, in the year 2000X, to avoid committing to any specific date. Well, actually, in later Mega Man games, they change it to 20XX. I guess someone at Capcom started thinking, we might need to tack on a few decades before humanity starts designing robots that shoot bees.
I just love how many problems that solves in sci-fi. Stay vague, don't commit, you won't look like an idiot decades from now. Hey, what year does this all take place? Oh, well, it's the year 2040.
Anyway, I know you're all just dying to know what the story is, and why the Street Fighter tournament is now taking place in space with robots and aliens and stuff.
It's kinda complicated. Apparently the original Japanese version is about a cyborg cop named Kevin Stryker who runs around and kills mutants and... well, that's it. It's got nothing to do with street fighting or the series mythology at all, which only raises the question, why in the hell is it called Street Fighter? Well, luckily, when it was released in the States, the US localization team completely rewrote the story and made it so that it actually does tie into the overall storyline. And, it doesn't work out. At all.
Ken had no interest in the frontier. Then his partner Troy was killed.
No! Not Troy! He was the best partner Ken ever had!
Someone broke into their lab, stole their invention, and left Troy as a pile of jelly on the floor.
You're hot and you're cold, you're yes and you're no. Hey, nurse! I'm thinking of growing a goatee. What do you think? All the other mad scientists are Gadzooks! My invention has been stolen! And Troy! What the hell's happened to you? Oh, you hear this now? Whoever's responsible for this, you turned my partner Troy into jelly! I will have you destroyed for this. He was mine to toy with and destroy as I pleased in a humorous fashion. Nobody outdoes Dr. Insano, do you hear? Nobody! I must plan my vengeance. Oh, but first it would be a shame to let all of that tasty jelly go to waste. Oh, he looks like strawberry. Nurse! Fetch me the English muffins! Oh, it's always a good time for breakfast, isn't it, Troy?
It's been 25 years since Ken was king of the Street Fighter circuit, but that's nothing some good bionics can't fix. Fortunately, the killer's path is pretty easy to trace.
Oh yeah, he was leaving jelly footprints of Troy all over the floor. It was pretty easy to follow.
Every frontier world the killer visited became quickly infected by Troy and Ken's remarkable cyboplasm.
So you mean to tell me that after Ken won the Street Fighter tournament, he decided to retire on top, abandon martial arts completely, and go back to college to get his PhD in science? Alright. Whatever.
In small doses, it can give people the extra strength they need to remain alive. In large doses, it comes alive and takes over the body and mind of its host, turning them into violent, mindless supermen, or in some cases, super aliens.
Cyboplasm is a lot like Red Bull, but enough of this midichlorian crap. Let's get to the street fighting!
Okay, I guess that's the guy I have to fight. Target. Where am I? What is going on? If you're not ready for this, you're gonna be totally confused as soon as this game starts. Right away, you find yourself doing crazy ninja somersaults as little robots chase you around. You're sticking to pillars and walls like a Ninja Gaiden. You're shooting some kind of gun, and basically, this is nothing like you'd expect a game called Street Fighter to be like. Guns and robots and huge pink dragons with 8-foot-long stinger tails? This is nuts! Like the screen at the beginning said, the objective of this stage is to kill that flying bastard, but you better get used to taking his big pink stinger right up your sweet asshole and asking him, "Thank you, sir, may I have another?" Partly because this game is weird as hell, partly because the controls suck ass and you're not used to them, and mostly because even when you do figure the controls out, this game is still nut-bustingly impossible. Your only attack is this projectile weapon that shoots out of your hand. Yeah, and by the way, a blue robot man who shoots beams out of his hand, that's original Capcom, thanks. Only, this gun sucks because it goes like a quarter-inch and then just sort of peters out. If you want it to go any further, you have to get power-ups by breaking stuff open scattered throughout each level. But I have no idea what these lumpy pieces of techno shit are. Seriously, what are these things? And why are there death ray upgrades in some of them? You have to get 2 power-ups before your gun upgrades to a longer range, and there are 4 or 5 levels possible, but the worst part is, as soon as you die one time, you lose everything you collected, and you're gonna die all the fucking time. Now, this boss isn't too hard to avoid, but you've always got these annoying fucking robots chewing on your ass all the goddamn time, and they keep respawning forever. The reason they're so annoying is because they're so hard to hit. You wouldn't think it, but you can only attack straight ahead or straight up, and they never approach you head on. Instead, they always seem to approach from below you, and there's no way to duck and shoot. Well, there is, but when you push down and shoot, Ken throws an overhead roundhouse kick that shoots a beam upwards at a 45-degree angle. Pushing down shoots diagonally upward. I guarantee you'll never get used to that. It's fucking ridiculous.
I think the best advice I can give you to not suck at this game is simply to forget the word Street Fighter or anywhere in the title. It's got nothing to do with street fighting or the other games in the series. I honestly don't know why they called it that, but you could have just as easily called this game like Hyper Guy or Laser Fist, and it probably would have worked out a lot better. At least there wouldn't be any preconceptions that this is anything other than a mediocre platformer.
Anyway, eventually you trap this guy in a corner and just manage to rape him until he dies. When that happens, a magic portal opens to the next stage, and you've only got 10 seconds to find it and jump in or you die. And I promise you, the first time you see that counter start to tick down from 10, this feeling of dread just settles over you, because you know at some point later in this game this is gonna fuck you right in the ass. The next stage has you appear in some kind of cage match with this guy swinging a ball and chain at you. He's not really hard, but you don't heal between stages, so the first time you appear here, he'll basically just kill you instantly. I suppose you could stand here and memorize his attack patterns, but the best thing to do is just to run right up to his face and hit the attack button as fast as possible until he just goes away. Now it starts getting even harder because after this you have to go through side-scrolling stages before you reach the boss fights. It's lots of platforming and weird, unidentifiable enemies. What are these things? Some kind of green elephant-shaped statues? Why do they hurt when you touch them? And I still have no idea what this lumpy shit holding the power-ups is. I really hate it when they put enemies at weird angles to you. Oh, you fuckers! You know, the platforming wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't for these fucking robots that are always flying around. They're in every single stage, purely to harass you. Even if you can hit them in midair, you can't normally kill them because they take 2 hits to destroy, and you have to get through these stages without getting hit because you'll need every life point for the boss at the end. This game is fucking long, too. Around 20 plus stages like this. Leaping from world to world, striving to put right what once went wrong, and hoping each time that your next leap will be the leap home. Sometimes you'll appear in places like this with a psychedelic background. Wait, that's it? What was the point of that? So apparently some levels are harder than weak old Big League Chew, and then there are about half of them like this, where all you have to do is run across one screen and maybe kill one thing in the way, tops. It's like playing Team Fortress and then the map switches to some shitty open area map that an 8-year-old designed. Every time you jump to a new world, there's a short cutscene, but it's basically the same one every time. There's a purple eyeball man who tells Ken to give up, and Ken says he'll win for great justice because he knows Kung Fu.
Oh, really? Do you know enough Kung Fu to beat Big Daddy?
Whoa! I'm totally being sodomized by Big Daddy's drill! Bogus!
You know what's strange about this game is that I hated basically everything about it, and yet I played it all the way through to the end because, diabolically, this game has unlimited continues, but no password system. It does just enough to piss you off and make it personal, but you can't quit. You're sitting there halfway through the game, getting your ass kicked by some giant swinging ceiling eyeball that drips snot down at you. You're mad as hell because it's already beaten you like 30 times, but you can't turn the game off because you're 18 stages in, and if you turn the game off, you'll have to start this long-ass fucker all over again. So of course you gotta keep playing.
Go to Planet Sand Dune.
Huh. Wonder why they call it that.
We have worm sign the likes of which even God has never seen.
Father, the sleeper has awakened!
I will kill him! Long live the fighters!
I was just thinking, it's cool that the cytoplasm mutates you into a cyborg monster thing, but these mutations seem awfully random. Sure, you get dragons and sand demons and plant monsters, but with my luck, I'd be the guy who mutates into the giant floating clam. That would blow. You know what I really hate about this game? Jumping and shooting. When you're on the ground, you can shoot as much as you want, but when you jump, the game lets you get off exactly one shot before you hit the ground, so you need to be completely precise. And that makes jumping across pits a real bitch, because if you miss one of those little fucking robots with your one shot, you're dead. Most of the bosses fly around, and so the only way you can hit them is with jumping shots, and that's really hard to line up when you're dodging these little robot bastards too. I swear, these little robots are a bigger galactic menace than all the cybo mutants combined. Later stages start to include mini-bosses from previous stages, or it makes you fight 2 old bosses. You don't want to know how long it took me to beat this stage, where you have to fight 3 of these same pink bastards from the first stage, first 1, and then 2 at a time, and you have way less room to maneuver, and there are these little fuckers leaping out of the sand the whole time. Okay, I'm skipping to the end because that level is 10 times worse than anything you've seen up to this point. Now you have to fight 4 mini-bosses before you can reach the big bad. The first is the giant enemy clam, which is actually one of the hardest bosses of the game, because you can only hit him from below, and your gun range is so short you basically have to climb up its ass to hit it. That alone is bad enough, but after that, you have to fight the guy with the ball and chain from stage 2 in a much smaller room than before. Then you have to fight 2 of these teleporting purple fuckers at the same time. They like to drop columns of fire all over the floor, and then they appear beneath you where you can't possibly hit them, and then they fly right up at you. And if If you can manage to get past all that, then you can fight the final boss with whatever life you have left, and you have to do all of this in one try. If you die, you start over. There's no checkpoints. But who's the final boss? Who is this mysterious purple eyeball man?
Welcome, Ken. Troy? Of course!
Of course!
Whew. Sorry, I think I just created a Street Fighter time paradox there.
Who else but I could control the cyboplasm? I can cause pain in all my victims, just as I've been causing pain in you! What do you mean? I'm infected? Didn't you know that you were my first victim? Of course!
Of course!
You stop that!
Is it just me, or does Ken look a lot like Duke Nukem?
Of course, you wouldn't remember that since I erased it from your mind. But why, Troy?
Yeah, why, Troy?
I might have expected something like this from Balrog or M. Bison, but not you, Troy!
You can't control the galaxy if you only use your discoveries for good. You have to become evil!
Oh, don't be such a crybaby, Ken. Creating killer robots and mutant abominations that spit in the eye of God are half the fun of mad science!
Join me, Ken. We can rule together.
With our combined strength, we can end this destructive conflict and bring order to the galaxy.
I'll never join you!
Then Troy turns into this pink bastard. Don't even try fighting strategically against him. He shoots these little laser beams that are just impossible to dodge no matter what you do. Believe me, I tried. Oh, come on! Your best bet is just to rush him and hit him with everything you've got, but that's not even the last of it. Naturally, you have to fight a final, more monstrous form. Oh my god. It can't be. It's...
Pizza the Hut!
Well, this form is actually a lot easier, but once again, there are these little annoying robots chasing you all over the place. And, wait, what? How the fuck did I just die? Nothing hit me, I swear nothing... Time over? I ran out of time? That's right. Not only do you have to blow past 4 mini-bosses and 2 forms of the final boss in one life, you've got to do it fast. So, stop all that dicking around you were doing before. You got to get serious now. Come on, I'm running out of time. Fuck! Damn it! I'm serious, I can't do this any fucking faster. I'll piss on you! Come on, die, you motherfucker! Die! Yes! I did it! I beat this impossible fucking game! Woo!
It stops here.
Ken, the cyboplasm infestation has become epidemic. We need your help. Who the fuck are you? Well, Ken returns back to Earth, and I'm not really sure what we've accomplished, but hey, the game's over, and at least we don't have to worry about cyboplasm in the near future.
Success! My cyboplasm formula is complete! I've combined it with my own spooge, and soon I will create the ultimate unstoppable life form! The nightmare of science! I will succeed where God has failed! I shall create perfection! Once I activate my genetic telerecombinator, my creation will appear! And the galaxy will be mine! What in the name of Schrodinger's pussy are you? No, this is impossible! I made every calculation and checked them twice! No! Another failure! I'll be the laughingstock of the mad scientist community! Again! Ow! You are no creation of mine! Why can't it never come out right? I tried so hard, I do all the science, and it never worked. I just wanted to take over the world one time, and a kiss, and nobody loves me. What? Oh, stop it! Are you trying to laugh at me too? Where are you? You do? Really? You mean you want to help me take over the world? Oh, I love you too, son. Do you hear me, world? Do you? I love my pink, freakish, orb-shaped son! I love this boy. He's a good boy. This is a Dr. Insano sound check. Check one, check mic. Yes, this is DJ Dr. Insano, bringing it to you live and hot. I said a hip, hip hop, don't stop, drop.
I rock on, baby, bubba to the boogie, bang, bang, the boogie to the boogie, the beat.